Hey everybody, it's one of those days where one little thing flips the whole freaking table. It's the kind of day that makes you feel like you're trapped in it with Punk'd, only Ashton Kutcher isn't coming, there's no big reveal, and the joke is apparently just my life. I am Maile Navarro. This is The Afterwards. Have you wondered yet why it's called The Afterwards? Why I spelled it W-O-R-D-S? Well, I named it that because after my son Kingston died at just 9 years old, me and my daughter started putting together a collection of all of the dumb, clueless, well-meaning but absolutely useless things that people have said to me. He's in a better place. Time heals all wounds. God only gives you what you can handle. Yeah, okay. So this show is where we talk about the real afterwards. The unfiltered ones, the ones that actually help, and the ones that make you want to throat punch a Hallmark display. For the last 2 weeks, I've been running on the emotional equivalent of one of those gas station hot dogs that's been spinning underneath the heat lamp since last Tuesday. I am depleted. I'm not tired. I'm more like my bones are hollow, and my soul is in airplane mode, and my brain has the same processing speed as my mom's old Gateway computer. All of this kicked in the night before the 1-year anniversary of Kingston leaving this world. I swear I spent 12 months laying bricks, one at a time, trying to build up something that looks just a little bit like my old life. But then on the 17th of July, I cried all night. Full ugly cry. Could not contain it anymore. The 18th, 1 year, didn't cry at all. I stayed busy. I let Zuma set the tone and I really just followed her lead. She had cheer camp. She went to cheer camp smiling. She came home from cheer camp smiling. Then we went to the frog park to meet up with 2 of her best friends and their moms. We had a nice picnic and we talked about Kingston for a little while as the sun went down. And then we just went home. My eyes started to swell with tears, and Zuma looks at me and she says, "If you're going to do that, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Fair enough. I say it to her all the time. But for some stupid reason, I really thought that that would be my turning point. Like at the 1-year mark, that there would be some magic switch that click, and suddenly all of this would be healed. I'd be evolved, a Zen-ass version of myself, because everyone all year long has been telling me that time heals all wounds. Just give it time. Take whatever time you need to grieve. So I have been bargaining with the universe for 12 months straight. Give me 6 months. Nope, just get me to New Year's. Okay, fine, let's just get past my birthday. My birthday came and went, and you know what? Let's just make it 1 full year. And then the 1 solid year goes by, and 11 days after that 1-year mark is what would have been his 11th birthday. So instead of being in my Zen era, I was in the hospital twice with a kidney infection so bad it felt like my organs were auditioning for the Saw movies. Friends were amazing. They even raised money to send us to Kingston's favorite place, that indoor water park that he really wanted to go to for his 10th birthday and never made it to. It was a good day. Zuma and I played and we laughed. His friend was there, her friend was there, and we made it through. But because I didn't cry, now I feel like I'm drowning in all of those tears that never made it out. Like my nervous system is full and it's sloshing around waiting for a crack in the dam. It's been 1 year and 2 weeks to the day, and I am still sitting here waiting for that time to come when my wounds are magically going to close. But honestly, I think they are just full of shit. I think that it doesn't get better, and they don't actually have a goddamn clue what they're talking about. I think it just gets different. Like a bad haircut that you stop noticing until you see a photo of yourself from behind and think, "Oh my God, is that what I look like?" And just when I thought, okay, it's been 1 year and 2 weeks, maybe now I can tiptoe forward. Maybe now I can take one little baby step toward a normal life without the universe tripping me up. But the universe was like, oh, no, bitch, watch this. Cue Zuma's birthday party planning. I feel like I had done everything right. I started planning ahead. This year, I could go straight into planning Zuma's birthday party in August. I gave a bunch of people a save the date back in July. We're talking 2 months advance notice. I thought, fuck yeah, I'm nailing it. I was like, look at me being a functional human again. And then because apparently I live in a sitcom written by my enemies, these jackasses go and plan another party at the exact same time on the exact same day. I'm like, hi, actually, I told you about this party 2 months ago, and I got hit back with, "Oh, but did you send it to the group chat?" My God, Barbara, no, I didn't send it to the group text because I had already sent the text before the group chat was even freaking created. I sent a notice early. I was responsible this year. I tried, and you still shit on it. It's like I take 2 steps forward and the universe literally shoves me back 10,000. But not in a super graceful way. It's literally like it picked me up and shoved me down an escalator in slow freaking motion while everyone watches and pretends they don't see the mascara streaming down my face and me literally chewing my tongue trying not to say something that I will regret. I'm just out here trying not to catch a charge, trying to be a good mom, and just do one thing right. So here I am while my daughter's off at a sleepover. I finally have a night to myself and I'm sitting in this mental shithole thinking, cool, it's been 1 year. Why am I still a mess? Why hasn't time magically healed my trauma like everyone freaking promised? Because society told me. No, society expected me to do the right thing, to take the 12 months that I agreed to properly grieve and then move on and rejoin the land of the living by getting some soul-sucking, clock in, clock out 9-to-5 job. So I wouldn't have to keep begging for donations like the Salvation Army in July. But holy hell, I am super screwed because I am paralyzed with grief. I have social anxiety that you cannot begin to comprehend. Every hurdle that I have cleared for the last 11 years feels like it was for absolutely nothing. Here I am, down a kid, no job, zero interest in finding one of those pointless let's all pretend everything matters jobs, because how do you even go back to that after what I have been through? I have only ever been a caregiver. And now after losing Kingston, I can't unsee what I have seen. I can't unknow how fleeting life is. If I can't spend my time telling his story, sharing what I've learned, or helping other families survive the meat grinder that is pediatric cancer, then honestly, what the hell was any of it for? And the moment that I admit that I am sad or that I can't afford to keep living here, the peanut gallery comes in hot with the same helpful advice. Well, maybe you should think about moving home. Where exactly is home, guys? Where do you think home is for me? That place that I left 12 years ago where literally no one I know still lives except for the people who absolutely despise me or have never even met my dead kid? How the hell is that the solution? It's gotten to the point where I can't even be honest about my feelings without someone chiming in with a Hallmark card solution that they found in a fortune cookie. If one more person suggests that I pack up my 10-year-old daughter and move her to some crap town that she's only been to one time and doesn't even remember being there, I will end up in jail. All of this today because I was trying to do something as basic and normal as plan a 10-year-old's birthday party. After living through something that is completely against nature itself, something so backwards that it rips your whole soul inside out, I thought today I'm going to try something normal, something positive, just plan the birthday party. But apparently, normal is not in the damn cards for me because in one single stupid comment about a freaking birthday party, it felt like every ounce of courage that I had scraped together for the last few weeks got yanked out from underneath me in 2.2 seconds. That's literally how heavy grief can be. People think it's just these dates, the anniversaries, the obvious triggers that will kill you. No, sometimes it's just a random Thursday when you're trying to show up for life again and boom, party drama takes you out faster than the bus that hit Regina George. Honestly, I think I've made losing a kid look relatively painless. If you look at my social media, you would think that I'm some functioning member of society with inspirational captions and decent lighting. Compared to how I actually feel inside, my online presence is basically me wearing a full face of makeup to my own emotional funeral. As I sat here tonight, beating myself up, asking God, the universe, my guides, probably a few uninterested angels, whoever the fuck was listening up there, why is my life so hard? I mean, this morning, I was supposed to meet a friend for lunch. I was going to beg him to help me pitch my podcast because I believe in my story, I believe in Kingston's story, and I believe that the message here matters, but they canceled. And maybe that's where it all started this morning. That little crack in the dam was right there. Add in the fact that person says that I need about 500,000 followers before anyone out there will actually take me seriously. I get it, numbers matter, but really, we're not talking about selling leggings or teeth whitening pens here. We're talking about grief and love and the way that cancer guts a family. But sure, let's wait until I have 498,200 more followers before my kid's story is marketable. That fucking hurt. That shit made me feel invisible, being canceled on, being told that my voice in the story doesn't matter without a big enough audience. It was like saying, hey, you are small, you are unnoticeable, and you are unimportant. Honestly, I've been watching my worth drop like the NASDAQ since Kingston died. This morning just felt like a grand slam confirmation that whatever value I used to have, well, it's basically on clearance now. Which of course brings me back to how I even got here. Because since the moment I moved to California, I have only ever been a caregiver. I have been the one setting everyone else up to grow, to evolve, to thrive, while I stayed exactly where I was. I've basically been a caregiver since puberty, just without the vocabulary, the boundaries, or the paycheck. While my friends were taking gap years in Europe, I was actually pulling night shifts as the unofficial emotional support adult after my parents got a divorce. By 19, I was already a mom. I actually have zero idea what it's like to be an adult who isn't responsible for keeping another human's heart beating. After my oldest was born, I had this brief, reckless, but incredible fling with the only other man who would ever scorch my heart the way that Kingston's death would. I was so wrecked over the one guy who didn't choose me that I basically lived the next 6 years like I was Pretty Woman. No kissing on the mouth, no letting anyone get too close. Except instead of being paid, I was paying for all of those decisions in self-respect, dignity, and the moral equivalent of 6 years in emotional booby tassels dancing for an audience that would never clap for me. When that blew up, I was so fucked up in the head that eventually I married my ex after just 6 weeks. Because nothing says healthy coping skills like legally binding yourself to someone whose middle name you haven't even learned yet. I didn't even know what the word empath meant back then. I just thought that I had a thing for extremely broken people. It was my type, the kind of men who look solid from a distance, but up close, they're being held together by ego, alcohol, and whatever other random sticky stuff that their mothers forgot to use to build them and to put them together in the first place. Somewhere along the way, I decided that my value was directly proportional to how much of their crap that I could carry without wanting to die. Like love was a strong woman competition, and I was trying to beat my own personal record. I moved to California in 2014. It was just me and my husband at the time, and eventually the small humans who ruined my bladder. I honestly thought that I'd just get a job, like clock in, clock out, collect a paycheck, maybe even have some health insurance. I bounced around a bit. Paralegal gigs, temp work, even a short stint at Fox Pictures, which I thought I would love. It sounds completely impressive until you picture me pregnant sitting in an office so beige that it could be used as a sedative. I was answering emails for people who think urgent means their font is wrong. My ankles were huge. I couldn't see my shoes. And then, of course, they found out I was pregnant and laid me off. Pregnant and unemployed was a major self-esteem booster, let me tell you. After both kids came back to back, I tried going back to work. My kids were 13 months and 2 days apart. It was damn near impossible. If you've never experienced anything like it, I want you to imagine living with a pair of raccoons in diapers. Loud, sticky, no respect for personal space whatsoever, and somehow they both smell like syrup even though you haven't made pancakes in weeks. We rented this tiny 10 by 10 foot bedroom in a house with another family. My family of 4 crammed into it like we were a sad reality show that nobody would dare to watch twice. What we were doing was far from glamorous. It was not even close to stable. The mornings trying to get to work were an absolute war zone. Daycare drop-offs, I was always late, my hair half done. I got coffee that I never got to drink. I'd get to work sweaty, frazzled, extremely late, and pretending to be a person who had her life together. Newsflash, everyone knew I didn't, except for me. I 100% quit before they could fire me. It was my way of controlling the humiliation. Money was tighter than Spanx on a hungover bridesmaid. My husband at the time was working in a restaurant. So at home, I would sell whatever I could. Used clothes, retro video games, baby gear that they had outgrown. If it wasn't nailed down, it was going on Craigslist. Half the time, I didn't even tell my ex, not because I wanted to be shady, but because I didn't feel like hearing, why would you sell that? Or you just bought that? Or where did you get that to sell? There were so many times I would get yelled at for not having a job. I would get told that I never contributed, that I didn't look for solutions to the financial strain that we were under, as if somehow me going back to work for $20 an hour was going to save us from drowning. Like, sure, honey, let me just hand my whole paycheck to 2 strangers so that they can raise our kids while I sit in traffic eating a cold granola bar, pretending that I give a fuck about email formatting. And the math was so Michael Scott stupid. I mean, think about it. Daycare for 2 infants would have cost me double what I made in a 9-to-5. Technically, going back to work would mean that we were paying for the privilege of me not being home. Great news, babe. I found a job that gets us to go broke faster. Oh, and my favorite part was when he would tell me, well, you wanted these kids. Oh, totally. Because I just strolled into motherhood like the Virgin Mary. No man involved, popped out 2 miracle babies through immaculate conception, and then personally tanked our finances for sport. All me, 100%. You got me. You're freaking welcome. Apparently, taking care of the 2 kids that we made together did not count as a job. Nope. Didn't matter if I was doing everything short of manufacturing my own breast milk into gold bars. It did not count as real work. And sometimes I would pay the rent or the electric bill, any bill at all. I would be accused of stealing his money because I didn't work. Because apparently keeping the lights on was not a priority for everyone. Between the 2 of us, we were barely patching holes in the boat that would not stop sinking. And half the time, it felt like one of us was drilling new ones on the other side of the boat. I had no idea at the time that all of that scrambling, all of that constant reprioritizing, and the Olympic-level neglect of my own needs was basically training me for everything that was about to come next. Guys, you know how my story ends. I'm down 1. In baseball, 2 out of 3 is a decent batting average, but in keeping humans alive and breathing, it's not exactly something that you can put on your resume. I haven't had a 9-to-5 job in 13 years. And that does weird shit to your brain. Most of my conversations have been with infants and toddlers, cashiers, or the poor customer service rep explaining late fees to me while I pretended to give a shit and jot down all of that information in a budget notebook that I don't even own. I called it being present with my kids, but honestly, my brain was starting to atrophy. Not in a cute, I forgot my phone password way, but in a not so cute way that I once called my neighbor mom and didn't notice it for 3 days kind of way. Still, no matter how broke, how tired, or how fried that I got, I always showed up for my kids, for my partner, for friends in crisis at 2 a.m, even when my own life was burning down behind the scenes. That's the thing about me. Even if I'm bailing water with a coffee mug with a hole in it itself, in a boat that was taking on water before I climbed in, I will give my life jacket to everyone else first. I will do everything I can to keep everyone else afloat. And yeah, sometimes I absolutely resented it. Sometimes I resented them. I still do. But I can keep the whole circus running even when the tent's on fire and the clowns are drunk. I will make people laugh while I'm doing it, because if I can make them laugh while their world is collapsing, they'll think that I'm strong and they'll never notice that I'm on the verge of death and my boat is sinking too. That's the thing about being the strong one. You get so good at holding everyone else up that people forget that you're standing in the storm with them. They laugh, they breathe, they unload on you, and they never notice that you are quietly bleeding out in the corner. The truth is that I have been in that role for my entire life. I didn't just wake up one day with a dying child and suddenly know how to do this. I'd been in unpaid caregiving boot camp for years, but once cancer entered the chat, it was game over for any version of my life that didn't involve medical charts, pill schedules, and alarms going off at 3 a.m. At one point, Kingston qualified for IHSS, In-Home Supportive Services, a program that, despite what your Aunt Carol thinks, it is not welfare. It is not free money, and it sure as heck is not the state giving a mom money to do the job that a mother should be doing anyways. I am not a nurse. No one is coming over to fold laundry while I watch Real Housewives. There's no hot pool boy vacuuming the drapes while I sip mimosas. It is the state of California saying, hey, instead of keeping your kid in the hospital forever, we will pay someone to do a nurse's aide's work so that your child can be comfortably at home. Except Kingston needed more than what a nurse's aide could provide. He needed a medical SWAT team. We're talking about 12 hours of TPN every night, nutrition straight into his veins through a central line in his chest, which had to be monitored constantly because if even one bubble got in there, he could die. Let me put that in perspective. An air embolism from a central line is fatal in less than 5 minutes. There is no, oh, let me Google what to do window. There's no, oh shit, run to CVS. It's, oh my God, he's going to die. Grab the crash cart. Except there was no crash cart in my living room. Instead, there was me, running sterile technique like my kitchen was an episode of Grey's Anatomy, minus the budget, the hot doctors, and the awesome soundtrack. I'm flushing ports, priming chemo, changing dressings, sanitizing everything like the CDC was about to give me a Yelp review, making sure that nothing, not one speck of dust, not one toddler sneeze got near his line so that he didn't end up septic. Basically, I was doing RN level work without the RN pay, no benefits, or the privilege of saying, okay, your turn, and handing the patient off so that I could go home and watch Love is Blind. And here's the part that would make any nurse spit out their Starbucks. The state pays $17 an hour, minimum wage. There is not a nurse on this planet that would do the work that he needed done for that hourly rate. They make $100 an hour for overnight central line monitoring. But guess who did it? Me, his mom. Not because it was my turn in between buying milk and changing out the laundry, but because if I slept for even 1 second, it could cost him his life. For the record, that IHSS paycheck didn't buy me a nanny or a day off or even a second caregiver so that I could sleep like a normal human. My days weren't spa breaks between medical marathons. They were a different flavor of exhaustion. By day, I took care of my daughter. I took Kingston to chemo in the morning. I would pick her up from school after chemo, dealt with his sickness, then hustled him to rehab. When he was in remission, same grind. Drop my other kid off at school, chemo, rehab, home, school pickup, repeat. Somewhere in that endless loop, I was also supposed to shower, feed myself, keep my partner from feeling abandoned, pay rent, keep the power on, buy groceries, all while pretending that I wasn't clawing my way out of quicksand 24/7. Here's what they don't put in IHSS handbooks or orientation. If you are a random provider and you have a patient and that patient dies, you get unemployment, you will get bereavement. You may even get a cake at your goodbye lunch. You can cash out your unused sick days, take a couple of weeks to scream or cry into your couch cushions. But if you are a family member, the state basically says, thank you for your service, now fuck off. There is no severance, no benefits, no, hey, maybe take a second before rejoining the workforce so that you don't burst into tears in the break room at your new job. When Kingston died, I didn't just lose my son, I lost my job, my purpose, and the one thing I was literally keeping alive with my own body clock. Here's the sick joke. 6 years of hospital-level caregiving counts for 0 in the job market. I did not get certified. I did not get a degree performing that RN-level work at home. All I got at the end is a resume that screams overqualified for suffering and underqualified for literally everything else. By the time he died, every penny we had was gone. 6 years of pediatric cancer will gut your savings like a Vegas weekend guts your liver. The therapy for Kingston to relearn how to walk was $150 an hour, 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. It was not covered by insurance. Because in America, you can get a boob job covered if it's medically necessary. Teaching a child with brain cancer how to walk again after chemo and radiation, that is out of pocket, sweetheart. And the only reason that we are not on the streets is because strangers, literal strangers from the internet, have done more for me and my daughter than my actual blood relatives. Which is wild because some of those relatives have never even met Kingston, but managed to make it to a funeral and call me a selfish bitch and then disappear like a bad Tinder date. There is zero plan for moms like me. In the military, when you experience trauma, you get debriefing. As a cop, you will get sent to counseling. As a Costco employee, you will get bereavement leave and an employee discount on muffins. But if you are a mother who held her baby until they died, you will get nothing. The official plan is, good luck, you loser. There is no welcome back to society orientation, no PTSD support group waiting with snacks, no hotline that says press 1 if you're ready to rejoin humanity, or press 2 if you're still screaming into the freezer aisle at Trader Joe's. Sure, there are grief support groups. You can absolutely go sit in a circle with other moms who are in all different stages of their grief, passing around tissues like it's some sort of communion. For me, I can't sit in that space. I barely like talking to strangers at a school event, let alone strangers who want to compare dead kid anniversaries. After my son passed away, someone from the school district invited me to talk about my options for rejoining a functioning society, like I had been living off nature in the woods somewhere and needed to relearn how to use utensils again. And what did he hand me? A pamphlet. Not just any pamphlet, but a pamphlet for people who are working on reintegrating into society after serious drug use. I'm sorry, what? I'm not a recovering meth dealer. I am a mother who held her son through brain cancer until he died. But sure, please do tell me more about how the skills that I learned flushing chemo lines will come in handy at my future parole hearings. Here's what some of the research says, and I'm going to say it very slowly, so the people who say things like, I get it, my dog died from cancer last year too, can hear me. According to a 2020 study in Frontiers in Psychiatry, parents who have lost a child have some of the highest rates of PTSD ever recorded in civilians, up to 80%. That is higher than combat veterans. The risk of dying in the first 2 years after loss is 10 times higher than someone the same age who has not. Chronic grief keeps your cortisol and your adrenaline elevated for years post-loss. It fries your immune system, it tanks your sleep, and it ages your cardiovascular system by decades. Your amygdala is stuck in panic mode. Your hippocampus is glitching like a drunk GPS. You cannot tell if you're safe. Your nervous system treats Starbucks lines like the ICU, and no one comes out to shut off the screaming alarms. And still, not a single federally funded program exists to help parents re-enter the workforce, to help them learn how to regulate their nervous systems, or even just learn how to go to a Whole Foods without crying into avocados. But sure, hand me that pamphlet about heroin. That'll fix it. The social backlash of trauma? While your brain and your body are trying to implode, you get 2 types of people. There are the ones who ghost you because your grief is too much and you talk about your dead kid and the signs too often. Or you get the ones who hit you with Pinterest platitudes like, he would want you to be happy, as if that will somehow rewire your brain and make you be normal again. It is emotional gentrification. They want your story to look pretty so that they can keep visiting without feeling bad or you making them uncomfortable. 1 year later, it has been 1 year and 2 weeks and I still don't have a job. Because apparently keeping a medically fragile child alive for 6 years translates to, I make awesome grilled cheeses on your resume. And no, I don't want to do end-of-life care for someone else. I would not like to take care of your grandfather with dementia. I would rather gouge my eyes out with a Taco Bell spork and then use the same spork to eat their nacho fries. You don't live through this and come out the same on the other side. the wiring in your brain gets ripped out and replaced with something that will only make sense to people who have been destroyed and rewired in the same way. I know now that there is more to this life than just we live and die. I know that connection transcends the physical world, that love doesn't stay in the ground, and that the people that we've lost are still finding ways to be here with us. Whether it's in a song, a license plate, or in a moment that stops you mid-breath and makes you know. If that makes me unstable in your eyes, if that means that your kids can't come to my house for a playdate because you think I might be the mom who serves juice boxes while talking to your dead uncle about the Dodgers, well, that's unfortunate for all of us. It could have been a good talk, and maybe he knows something we don't. And if you've been through loss and you've lost a little or a lot of your faith, I have those days too. The days when all of the signs and all of the woo-woo in the world can't touch the pit in my chest. That is okay. You do not have to be enlightened or evolved or vibing higher just because you've suffered. You get to be right where you are, even if where you are feels like the bottom of a swimming pool and you don't know how to swim yet. That's why I'm here, telling this story, making this podcast, writing it down, because it matters. And because I know that there is someone else out there who's also been taken out by the double-booked birthday party, and you're beating yourself up about it. I know that it's not about the party. It's about the mountain that you have been climbing for so long, and the tiniest thing sent you fumbling back down the mountain. You can see it coming down on you. You feel the avalanche, you hear it coming, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. I see you. And yeah, maybe it's just a birthday party to you, but to me, it is proof that I am still grieving because I am human. I am still looking for meaning. And if that makes you uncomfortable, please keep walking. If it makes you feel seen, stick around. I'll be here. I will tell the truth. I will tell my story. I will tell Kingston's story. I will be chasing signs and probably eating a lot of leftover birthday cake straight out of the box. So yeah, this all started because a few people didn't see my group text and booked a team party right on top of Zuma's birthday party, which on the surface sounds incredibly petty, right? Like normal people can shrug that shit off. But when you are living with grief, all of that small stuff, it's just never small anymore. It's the chink in the armor. It's the one thing that knocks the wind out of you because you have been holding your breath for a year straight. And that's why I'm here, doing this podcast instead of playing nice in the PTA group chat. Because if you're listening and you've had one of those days where you completely fall apart over something really dumb, that text that didn't come, that thing that you were left out of, the wrong look from the wrong person at the wrong time in the wrong place. It's not just the thing, it's everything. And you are not crazy, and you are definitely not alone. I need this to matter. The podcast, my writing, all of it. I need it to be worth something because I can't go back to pretending that everything is fine. I can't clock in somewhere and make small talk about the weather and doing things that make other people rich and that make my soul feel like it's going to shrivel up and die. I can't unknow what I know now, and I can't unsee the things I've seen. And if you get it, then you get me. So here's what we're going to do. You're going to follow me on TikTok and Instagram, and you're going to share this episode with your friends, your weird aunt who collects crystals, and maybe that coworker who always looks like she's about 2 emails away from snapping. You're going to buy Zuma's Magical Balloon on Amazon.com because it's beautiful and it will make you cry in a good way, and because my kid is 10 and thinks it's hilarious when people say they bought her book. If you've got a business, a side hustle, a sugar daddy, or just a generous streak, we are always looking for sponsors and donations to keep our hosting active. Because as much as I love pouring my heart out into this microphone, I also love having a roof over my head. Let's make this thing big together, big enough that I never have to answer phones for a company that I don't believe in, and so that every grieving, burnt out, spiritually scrambled human knows that they are seen. Let's build a space together where no one has to fake being over it and where no one else will ever be emotionally assaulted by a Taco Bell spork. Thank you all for joining me, and until next time, please take care of yourself, follow the signs, and maybe avoid places with weird utensils. Nothing good has ever started with a Taco Bell spork, unless your kink is trauma with a side of nacho cheese.